Cool. I'm live. Are you
Yep.
good,
Hey.
Jax?
Yeah, man, I'm
All
ready.
right. Cool. Um, welcome to another episode of XN Interviews. Joining me, I've got my co-host Jax, and this week our guest is a man of many names, but he goes by Duckslug or Slugberg on Twitter, or just the creator of Aunt May. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Yeah, good to be here.
So let's just go ahead and start it off. What made you want to download MCOC and start your website?
Well, playing the game was just looking for whatever was available on the Play Store, and it was just a whole bunch of junk out there. And finding MCOC was really more of luck than anything. And I didn't realize it right away that there was more to this game than just a lot of the other card games where the fights are kind of inevitable. I was playing, I think it was like a Walking Dead one or a Star Wars one where it just you could look at the teams and be like, "There's no way I can beat this." But MCOC had this, like the parry mechanism, dexterity. And as I started to figure out what was going on, you could actually overcome a lot of this content without having to pay. And it's just about practicing and actually develop your skills.
Yeah. Okay. So about how long after you started playing the game did you want to get involved with the website?
So that's sort of something that I kind of develop with games as I really get into them. As I start to overanalyze them and think about them a lot, and I just found myself trying to look up things so much. And then that was kind of combined with some things that were going on at work, where I started to move into a little bit more of a managerial position. I was falling behind on development skills. I really wasn't paying attention to a lot of the new technology. And I don't like being that out of the loop when I'm talking to people about that. So that was more of a like, all right, I want to practice my skills with this and I'll make a website. And it grew into this thing I didn't really expect it to at first.
Right on. So with the website, um how did you go about starting that, or did you want to do did you have like a couple of ideas before the website that didn't follow through with?
Yeah, I'd been putting together some smaller tools, and I had a couple other little test websites that I started, and they just didn't really have this scope. And it was um, this new sort of technology I was working with and trying to do the full stack of that that I started fresh. And all the other little tools I'd made, they kind of floated out there and didn't really get any recognition. It wasn't really about the recognition, but I could find them useful for me, which was important. With this thing, it was the seeing how it impacts other people and how it helps them has been such a huge motivating factor to me.
That's awesome. So about how many people visit your site? Do you know?
So I started collecting some metrics recently on just unique visitors over a month. So I'll clear out whatever tag I have, and I don't track across like if you look at it on your phone, you look at it on your computer. I don't know that you're the same person. I don't track anything with that. So I have about 200,000 people a month coming to visit.
Very cool.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, so so what was the first idea that came to the Aunt May website that you really were just like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do, and this is how I'm gonna get it started?
So I've been playing around with a lot of just champion tag searching and a couple other little tools. And the 12.0 change when they changed how the ratings were calculated, that was something where I went and I built a small little calculator for it, and that got a little bit of popularity. And what really pulled it together was when I was able to get to the data for the prestige and be able to draw charts on signatures and such like that. That was something that told me that there was more here from a data perspective, that if I could get it into something that was consumable and filterable and visible, that that would be really useful.
Awesome. So once you got that started, how easy was it to apply updates and other different little tools?
Keeping up with what Kabam does when they update their code is a kind of constant struggle, and a lot of my work is actually on the tools that help me support the website and make it so that same day I can push out data. I haven't really built up my infrastructure where I want it to be, there's a lot of churn that can happen. So you might see that page that's telling you to refresh. That's the thing that I should be able to stop and make it so you can get updates just automatically as you're browsing. It's about finding, I'm the only person working on it. So it's finding the things that make the most sense and balancing that with, there's a heavy kind of hosting cost involved with this that I don't mind that part of it, but I just am very conscious of what I put on there and how it will affect the resources being used.
Okay. Um, so after you got it all started, um, once you started applying updates and all that, um, what did you really look forward to as the site began to grow? Like the synergies things you were talking about on Twitter, I believe. Do you plan on implementing that sometime at the by the end of the year, or is that just a project that you've been working on for a while?
It's been very difficult to kind of come up with timelines. That's another thing that I really need to start to tackle is my organization of this because I have way too many ideas and things that I want to tackle with this. And there's bursts of motivation that I get or inspiration that get me to go work on one little piece, and I'll get distracted by something else. And the focus for quite a bit of the last year has been on my uh, tooling behind the scenes, and I've overcome some pretty big hurdles there, and I'm starting to really, get excited about what I can start to expose data wise. So things like working on the synergies and quest maps. Occasionally, I'll use the tooling that I have behind the scenes to help people answer questions about either maps or how buffs work and track that. But I haven't been able to expose it well on the website. So that's really what I want to do is get all of the things that I have available to me available to everybody.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to talk about how you get a lot of that information. Are you a part of the CCP?
I'm not a part of the CCP. I think I will apply though. I had decided before not to just because there was a lot of people talking about how well, if you're in the CCP, you're beholden to them, and I think that's not true. And I think that I'm at a point where I don't have to worry about that so much anymore. And it's not about getting the early access. It's about being able to better contact other CCP members to give them tools to help them do what they do.
Okay. So, so right now, are you just getting all of your information from other players? Or is that where you get? I mean, get a lot of your
So
information.
I might have to be a little evasive on that. I'm doing a lot of kind of complicated code things. I don't actually do any manual data gathering, and I don't get any data from other people. It's all done by monitoring the code that they send to us and what's going over the network, and a lot of really heavy kind of decompiling and deep looking at it. I've started to learn. To me, this has been such a learning experience. So learning assembly and getting to watch all the little changes and how they affect what we see.
Okay. So, you said that you're the only one working on the website. So, are you the one that's applying all of the languages and all that too?
Yes. So that's done through. That's actually one of the more annoying processes I have every release is that I have to go and I have a phone kind of dedicated for this purpose. I don't do anything questionable with my actual real account, but on this other phone, I will log in and then I'll switch my language and switch it to each of the 16, 17 languages there are. And I have tools gathering the translation files.
Oh, okay. Um, that's a lot of work. About how much time do you spend logging, doing all that, and logging information? Um, I mean, how much time do you do that compared to playing the game?
I spend quite. It's sort of its own little game for me, is seeing what I can figure out and what how I can use that information in interesting ways. Things like that. It's a I'll just be doing whatever on my computer, and I have the phone sitting by my side, and I'll click on whatever language, and then a minute or two later, I'll look down and I'll switch the language. So there's no actual work involved for me. The code to get it to do that was a substantial amount of work, but that's been, like I said, its own little game, its own fun.
Okay. Um, So with that being said, um, are you in an alliance, or do you have time for an alliance, or
I
guild
am in an
or anything
alliance.
like that?
It's not like competitive or very high end, but I really enjoy working, playing with those people, and that's another thing about MCOC that makes it so great is the community. And yeah, my alliance isn't heavily involved in, I don't know of any other content creators in my alliance, but they're still great people and I still like being with them. That's a challenge though, is I'd love to also be in an alliance with a lot of other people that I'm friends with because of this game.
Okay. So uh, what map do you run in AQ?
We run map 4.
Okay. Uh, is that just because of the level, or just because it's? I mean, or
So I'm substantially further along than a lot of the other people in the alliance. There
right.
are we're churning through recruits occasionally. That has more to do, for me at least, with wanting to be in an alliance without any dues. I don't want to have to. I know I think you can run map 5 now without it, but I wasn't really keeping up with that part of it. And honestly, I'm making as much progress as I need to. I'm keeping up with Thronebreaker. I have no problem keeping up with all the content myself, even with map 4 alliance awards.
Okay. Um. So is that just something that you think you're going to continue to do, or do you think you'll move up into a map 5 alliance, or
I'm not
within the
sure that
next?
it's worth the extra stress for me. It seems like it's a lot of trouble, and this game is it's a journey. There's a long time to go. That I've been playing it for a long time, and in a year from now, everything that everybody's gotten working so hard in being in Map 7, I'm just going to be getting out of regular content. So it's hard for me to decide that I want to use my life really staying on the ball, or instead I can log in once, twice, and that's all I need to on a given day. And then other days I'll definitely want to log in a lot more.
Okay. So have you completed all the content in game, or have you not completed all the content in game?
So I've done the first
Like,
pass of Abyss. I haven't explored it yet, and same with getting to Act 7. I haven't actually done any of Act 7 yet. That's it's one of the things that happens to me a lot is I get kind of psyched up about content and then I go and actually do it. It's really not that much, that much of a challenge. There's plenty of great challenges in the game, but I always think of it as so much more and I put it off. I don't think I'd have any problem actually running through Act 7 right now.
okay. So with that being said, what do you think were some of the hardest pieces of content, and what are some of the most or the worst boss fights you've had?
So I don't really think of too many as being a kind of a worst boss fight. And that like I said, a lot of this stuff, I'll play a map and I'll just restart if I need to. I don't get really caught up on having to revive a whole bunch. And I guess my answer would be the collector when he first came out and we were fighting him with 4 stars and rank 3 5 stars. I think I had 1 5 star or something at that point, but that was much more of an accomplishment feeling at the time with what we had available to us. Where now I feel like I'm planning out my rank up so far ahead, where I'm thinking about like what is something that I don't have a strong combination of counters for, and then as new content comes out, I've just been ready for it.
Hmm. Okay. So could you kind of give us an example of what you're talking about, how you're planning your rank ups?
Sure. So I almost never rank up until something is expiring. So I'll have T5B in my stash, and then it's really about looking at, okay, do I have somebody that counters electricity? Do I have somebody that counters bleeds and does power drain? And it's finding those gaps is where I think I need to invest. And another thing I notice a lot of people do is they'll look at one of their champions that's really powerful and handles content no problem, and then they'll rank them up further. And that feels like I don't need to make easy fights easier. I'd much rather concentrate my resources on fights that I have trouble with.
Okay. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
JX, do you have anything?
Uh, sorry, my chat's going. I know we don't have chat in the Discord, but my chat's going. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, your rank ups is definitely. I like that idea about it. So yeah, so you're talking about rank ups against going against hard fights. What are your favorite champions to play as?
So I have a Doctor Octopus at rank 3, 6 star, and he's just been so much fun. When I ranked him up, it was before Thronebreaker came out, so it wasn't like I needed to, but it was a a little hesitant at the time, and I don't regret it at all. That's been a fantastic addition.
Wait, what was it again? Sorry.
Doctor Octopus.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. I've been seeing so many cool things about him.
It's awesome. Yeah. So what other champs have you seen in the game that have just shined where others may not?
Well, I do love Venom the Duck. He's fantastic. There's so many things you can do if you build him correctly, and that's the type of thing that I really like about this game is when you kind of step back from the okay, I want to hit as hard as possible, and then start looking at instead at the utility. So for me, with Venom the Duck, it's all about the power gain. If you can have two, parry twice, and you're throwing another L2 at them, you can. It's fantastic and constant regen. So it's that sort of non-standard play where I'm not looking for huge crit numbers. I actually don't like playing as Corvus. I don't really like playing as Quake. It doesn't feel like you're playing the game. So it's about finding things that make the game enjoyable for me and then looking for fun counters and champions that aren't the standard.
Okay. So, is there a champion that you don't have that's on your wish list?
Well, Scarlet Witch 5 star would definitely be the top of that list, but I think the surprising one to me was Guillotine 2099. So I have a free to play account, and that account's first 6 star was Guillotine 2099. I don't have a 5 star on my main, and just so much fun to play as. And that was also part of that free to play accounts experience was just using a lot of champions that I didn't normally. I didn't rank up who I normally did, and that was great. Seeing how I could tackle all this old content that I didn't think I would have been able to do without Aegon, without whoever, and doing it with champions that aren't the top tier, and finding out that it's really just about the right strategy and taking the right counters for the path.
Yeah. So, where do you think that you have come as a player when it comes to finding players to fit the certain puzzle pieces?
What do you
I
mean?
mean, like, uh, so uh, I guess Frontline explained it as putting the puzzle pieces together. So, where do you think puzzle pieces fit the best in certain content? Like in Act 5, 3, is there a certain champion that tackles a certain path or that does it better than people that have shown?
So that
Maybe I
was
don't
very
know.
much a an Aegon quest for me, and that he took care of pretty much everything. But there are looking for the gaps of okay, well, if I need somebody that can um, deal with this node, but also needs to be bleed resistant, that's the type of thing that I'm looking for. And seeing things like Spider Ham having counters to degen, that's a really good survivability is huge for me. I think that's more important than hitting really strong and being able to like I have no problem with a 5 minute fight instead of a 3 minute fight if I'm going to come out full health.
Okay. Yeah, totally. Um uh so what what champions would you like to see come to the game?
I think Onslaught would be fantastic to see. Same with pretty much any of that 90s X-Men was back to the heyday of when I was actually really heavily into comics. So seeing something like Onslaught or Holocaust or any of that genre.
Yeah, Holocaust, Age of Apocalypse,
Yeah.
dude. Oh man, I'm such a. Even though I wasn't born in the '90s, I love the '90s comics.
Yeah. 90s comics are 90s X-Men was definitely my jam. um so do you pay attention to comics in general? Do you pay attention to the lore in the in game?
MCOC has definitely made me start again, I guess I should say. So when I was a kid, comics in the 90s where, it was all about the cards. And I probably, and the art really in the cartoons, I probably didn't really read and understand them as much. It was, I'd read them, but it didn't click. And recently going and looking up, okay, what is a good series to read? And the, what is it, Thor, the one where he fights against the Venom symbiote, that series was awesome. The writing in that is fantastic. And I started pulling down a few more and getting, so I've got a whole bunch of subscriptions now, and I've actually recently been unable to keep up with them. And I'm kind of really excited about this nice pile of comics that I've got to go to read when I get some time.
Very nice. You got anything, JX?
Yeah, it took my question away from me, talking about what champ would you want to be added. So you said you have a whole pile of comics, or they're just random comics sort of through the ages?
Oh, well, so I've got the random comics that I left at my parents' house that I need to go pick up. But recently, I've been getting subscriptions and doing pull lists, and the box comes and I don't have time to get through it, but I organize them. They're ready to go read, and I started reading when the Fantastic Four series started back up again, and I've just loved how well they're telling that story, and really excited to pick that back up where they just introduced Entropy.
Yeah,
that was almost a year ago, so I've got a good stack.
Yeah, definitely some cool stuff in there. I've sometimes new comics I can't catch up with, but when I do, it's really awesome that I read them. But yeah, King in Black, the new comics right now, I definitely want to look at since Noel might be coming to the game.
I'd be very excited to see.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, my chat's just saying they're huge Marvel fans, and so they're talking about all the comics.
Yeah, the run with Doctor Strange where kind of lost his magic was awesome. I just never really thought about how he, as a kid, it's magic. You don't really think about it, but just the way that they talk about how he pays the price and how he has to actually channel it and think about it in creative and smart ways is just awesome.
Yeah, I don't think I've actually read that, so I should put that on the list. That one seems like an awesome one to read.
Yeah, the run right before the Surgeon Supreme, I read that as well, and I really liked that too.
Okay.
I didn't expect to think Doctor Strange in space would be that great, but I liked it a lot.
Hell yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely put on the list.
So, I had a question from Twitter. It says, do you think that 6-star R4 prestige will be different, and do older characters get higher prestige?
So we can sort of see that now. So there's a data in the game when you go fight against them that tells us what their prestiges would be. And it doesn't go crazy. It doesn't ramp up, and it's really sort of linear. Like, I haven't gone and actually looked at it in a long time, other than to see that it's basically the same percentage in jump from R2 to R3 as it is from R3 to R4. And it's tuned down a little bit from when we were going from a 5-star R4 to R5 is a much larger jump. And I think that's kind of good. The rank ups themselves are really not as critical. And it's just about having that little bit extra. And right now, you can beat almost any content that you're fighting with an R4 5-star just as well as an R3 6-star.
Yeah. Okay. Jax, your chat have anything?
No. So what if there's one champ in the game? Who would you buff?
I would probably want to have Psylocke buffed, but I think the champions that need it, like Miss Marvel, everybody just forgets she's in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, the third Miss Marvel that we have. So.
Are you talking about the classic one?
Yeah. Well, so we have the classic, and we have Miss Marvel, and then there's Kamala Khan as well. But the one with the sash for a belt.
Yeah, not Captain Sparkles.
Yeah, you just utterly forget she's in the game. And for a long time, everybody forgot that Joe Fixit was in the game as well. But they started using him for the quest content now.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that. That's interesting.
Shows up a little bit from what is the Black ISO sales.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, the event quest. Yeah. So, what have been some of your most memorable event quests, and what have been some of the worst event quests that since you've been playing?
So the one that I kind of remember, actually remembered starting to pay attention was when Venom came. And that was the first time that I was like, oh, I really want Venom. I need to actually play through and complete an event quest, which before then, I hadn't been playing it for very long, but that wasn't really the goal. It was just to play a little bit. Since then, there's been, I'm kind of blanking on which ones it was. There's some that I've really enjoyed the storyline with. Some of the Fantastic Four ones were wonderful for that. And it's sort of a shame that the reading format of the story is that you have to, you're playing this game and you're interrupted with a tiny little bit of dialogue, and then 2 or 3 fights later, you have to remember what they were talking about and actually get that muscle memory out of there of clicking skip, because when you go to explore it, that's all you're doing is skipping it. So I wish you could go back and just read the story of them in one go instead of having to wait for it piece by piece. From an actual fighting and content perspective, it is really hard to put into. I'm just kind of looking at the champs now and trying to remember their event quests and which ones were really fun. The Hyperion and Howard the Duck was surprisingly fun to play.
Yeah, I didn't play. Yeah, so I started the game in 2015, and then I went on a 2-year break. And so that 2-year break was after, when I came back after my break, it was after the Howard event, and so I was kind of sad I missed it.
Hopefully they'll come back as a variant.
Yeah, we're getting close, actually. Oh, well, actually not, actually. Let me check. Oh, yeah, no, we're a lot of events away. We're like, I think 7 or 8 or, yeah, we're 9 events away. The next one should be Rocket and Groot's Holiday Special, which will be really fun. Hopefully we get some Baby Groot memes from contest.
That'll be great.
Yeah, so, with that being said, do you guys, does your alliance use Line or Discord?
Unfortunately, we use Line.
Okay. Is there, like, a reason why you guys don't use Discord?
Just momentum.
Yeah, we do the same. I don't like it, but it's all right.
All right. You said you guys aren't a very competitive alliance. Do you guys run war?
Yes.
Okay. Do you, what kind of battle groups and or what tier do you guys run?
Geez, that's the thing is I don't even really know. It's not high or anything like that, but
Okay.
What is it reading? Sitting here trying to pull it up real quick. Yeah, I mean, we're not super competitive or anything like that, and to me, like I said, it's really just about the awards are good. The rewards are decent to have come in, but the difference between if we try super hard and we push versus if we just do what we're doing, I'm going to get that in 2 or 3 event quests.
Yeah. Okay. So, is there any future like updates with Aunt May that you're really looking forward to, or?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I've been
anything about yet?
playing with. I did tease a little bit about the synergies are live now. To just search for them, but there's nothing really to. Yeah, you can search for the synergies and look at them, and it looks kind of neat. But that's okay. The piece that I'm working on today is a little bit more to do with the quests and being able to tell you that if you go look at a champion, he is in. If you need to go fight him, you can go find him in this quest, or that quest, and if you need him to, with these are the nodes that he's on or the levels that's available for it.
That's very cool.
Oh,
today,
that's very good. Very.
Yeah, I was gonna say today, me and Marcus Pack were coming out with a buff for Symbiote Spider-Man and a build for Spider-Man Noir. So we were using your website while we were in the call, looking for synergies, looking for characters, how they interact. It was really cool. So I want to thank you for making the website because it's definitely helped out. So many content creators. So yeah, just wanted to say that.
It's awesome to hear that. That's that is what kind of drives me forward with this. At first, it was really about. I'd go to answer a question. I'd try to look something up and stumbling through the game. Or I'd be in a quest or something, so I couldn't go look at what I needed to. And having that at my fingertips was great for me, but helping other people has just been a totally different thing and makes it so much more worthwhile.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just wanted to say thank you, too, because I use the site almost every day whenever I'm looking for stuff. Like, I really do. I don't know. I mean,
thank you.
I just use it. um, shoot. JX, do you have anything else?
I just had it and it slipped in my mind. But yeah, Mr. King says thanks for with the languages. There's a lot of issues with the languages through Kabam, so it's nice that you actually take the time to do it correctly. I assume.
Yeah, well, so I'm looking at the data that's coming through, and I've started collaborating a little bit more with Kabam. So when a new release comes out, my thing churns through that, and I can find out who's missing translations. So that gets all dumped down a whole report that I send them, and that's a great way to fix that part. But translations wasn't something that I went into this thinking I would be doing originally, and learning to how to get the website to do that correctly has been great too, and very helpful for me in other areas.
Yeah. So with the translations, is that something like that you'd be willing to reach out to other people to try and help with?
So I pull most of it from the game. I do want to set something up for anything that I have typed myself. So, the text at the top for the filters and the search or something like that. That's the type of thing that I want to make it something I can gather resources from the community. And that idea I want to extend to more than just translations. So a lot of the site is not about opinions. It's just here's some data for you. And I don't really want to start adding too much opinionated stuff, but I would like to have a way for people to find that. So if you want to find guides that people have written, well, here's a champion, here's our handful of links that go to these content creators. And ideally, I'd get that set up to a state where you can say, these are the content creators I want to prioritize. This is how I want you to show that to me. So that way, if there's somebody you really like, they'll tell you their link.
Huh. Yeah, so not only will it tell you the champion, it will tell you the content creator that uses that champion. That's pretty neat. Is that something we could look forward to in Aunt May, like anytime soon?
Timing is always tough with this, and it's hard to. I don't really want to promise things that I can't deliver, and I'm very hesitant to talk about too many features. I want to try to change that. I'd rather talk about them because it motivates me and gets a little bit better information from the community, but worried a little bit about just how much time I have available to actually develop this.
That's awesome. Okay, so with that, really, I don't know. JX, do you got anything else?
I think that's all my notes. Oh, give me a second. Yeah, is there anything you want to talk about?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. I just, it's great getting to actually talk to some people about this. That's one thing that we've all kind of dealt with in our home lives here is being, stuck in because of COVID. But getting to talk about something that we're excited about and that we enjoy playing in this community that we could share is awesome. So I just love that part of it.
Yeah, I started.
Yeah, so I guess. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I started like making content. It's been like at the end of last year, so it's been really fun and awesome to do it all and connect to so many people in the community.
I appreciate you doing it.
Yeah. Truly, I appreciate the both of you for getting in touch with the community, because otherwise I wouldn't be doing this as well. I mean, I get to talk to all tons of people. I mean, all day.
It's a very passionate community for sure. And my entrance into it, was on Reddit, and that's where it's just, and not just Reddit, in the forums and all that. The sort of anger that you get seeing hides a lot of this passion that people have for the game, and how much, like, you don't complain about a game that you don't like, you just stop playing it. So the fact that everybody's complaining so much really says how much they enjoy it, and they just want to be that little bit more. So that engagement in the community, it's just a really awesome thing to see.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, sorry for such a short interview. Is there any champions that you could see come into the contest through the State of the Battle Realm map?
Oh, I do like the theory crafting that goes on there. And I was kind of laughing at somebody because, obviously Spider-Man 2099 is a pretty good option for one of them, and I would love to see him. That was one of those 90s when 2099 came out. Just loved him. And but they throw us curveballs, and there's some things that that it line up perfectly. There's people that are connected to people that maybe in your head don't make sense, or you'd expect them to be somewhere else. So you can't say for sure. And for all we know, we get a new character like what is it? What was I guessing? Spider-Gwen 2099. Like that could be something they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like
Post of my theories.
What if spinoff or something? Yeah, that would be cool.
I think they have showed interest in what if characters, but we have never seen them implemented into the game. So I would love to see some. And I think
like Civil War is kind of a good example where people don't really see that coming.
Yeah, I was about to say it because I've been running through the dialogue of the game, and I was going back to a Deadpool event, and Deadpool was like, "The Collector, you should have mixed me with Guillotine to make a Deadpool Guillotine." I was like, "How have we not seen that in the game? That'd be hilarious."
I love the Guillotine's storyline, and talking to Gabe at the New York Comic Con, and just the passion he has for that storyline was amazing.
Oh, okay, so you've been in New York Comic Con.
Went once, yeah. It was really great time.
Okay, I was gonna ask that. That's what slipped my mind not too long ago. Yeah. So, what year did you go?
So they didn't have one this year, so the year before that.
Okay, so 2019.
I can't keep track of time anymore.
Okay.
In here. Yes.
No worries, man. Yeah, no, I've never been to one. I've wanted to go for one so bad. Like I've bought stuff from the New York Comic Cons, so I've been trying to get all the collections of the IRL MCOC stuff. Is there anything that Gabe said that maybe you want to say on the podcast? I know we've had a couple guests who've been to the New York Comic Con, and some of that data gets lost. Like you asked, Kabam up there, and they don't post these things on Twitter. And I've been gathering all the information Kabam said about T's characters or anything like that. Is there anything you know?
I try to there's really nothing that's not out there in the public domain that I can think of, and.
Right, no worries. I was just asking because I'm always curious when people go to Kabam and have these conversations that don't ever get published sometimes. Because I was looking at your account, and I didn't see anything. So, not stalking you. It's research. I swear.
You're doing your research. Good.
Yeah, but okay, no worries, man. I was just asking. I was curious. Very cool.
If I think of something, I'll let you know. But off the top of my head, I can't really think of much. More than anything, it was just the passion they had. They really liked their own stories and how it affects the overall story that they're working with.
Yeah, like combining two universes with Realm and Contest is going to be so cool. Once we actually get the first crossover, or next crossover, I should say.
That is something I want to get a little bit more into, is Realm and even the Mirrorverse stuff, and possibly look at what I can do for a website for those. But
yeah. Or do you play Realm?
Yeah, so
a little bit. I haven't gotten the hook, and it's more of kind of a time thing than anything. But I'm pretty sure I will get more into it just the more I play and find time to.
Okay. Yeah, they released some patch notes, I think just yesterday or the day before. So, Contest wasn't that good when it first came out, so they're making that transition to getting the game really up on its toes and running as because we're so many years into 6 years, almost 7 years now into the Contest. So, it's getting to where it's going to be a game that I think will hopefully be successful.
And I think that's the sort of growing pains we definitely saw with MCOC, where I in no way thought that a video game on my phone could be this good.
Yeah. I say all the time, like, my favorite video game is Contest Champions. And they're like, what, a mobile game? I was like, guys, it's so complex and it's so amazing. The thought and the love behind it, it's amazing.
And I think they'll get there with M-Rock. The controls are a little bit not there for me, and I think that has to do with the device I play on. One of the biggest things for MCOC was getting an iPad that's a little bit bigger to play on.
Okay, so you play all your content on the iPad?
For my main account, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I just bought an iPad, so I'm curious to see how it'll differ.
Yeah, it was something I was afraid of at first. It's a larger screen. I didn't know if that'd mess with my timing or anything like that, but it's just a lot smoother. Which, another recommendation, everybody wash your screens. I know that you think that it's dropped inputs, but it makes such a big difference to have a clean screen.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I've noticed that with like oily, like I know like oils will get on them and it's stuff like that. So yeah, that's cool. I gotta do mine today.
It's always a little hard to understand like what can affect
Have
that
any
too.
more
Go ahead.
tidbits of advice for us?
Yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest ones. And it's not always is it Kabam's fault. And looking at the code, they're not writing the code that actually checks your finger taps, and so that's
Oh.
coming from Apple or Android and the Unity backend, and so they're just basically treating it like a controller, and anything that's getting dropped is because of these other systems. So it's your OS or your phone device, and all sorts of things like how hot it is can slow down
Yeah.
the recognition of, if you know anything about how taps and blobs are detected when they touch. It can cause it to think that you released slightly, and it will tell the game that you released the button, and every game just respects what the controller tells them.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought up controller because it's crazy that they actually used to support controller, and I've been wanting to play a controller on contest for so long, but sadly it's not available anymore. But I just thought that was cool that you brought up the inputs, the lags, the dead zone as well, and just other cool stuff. So very interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Look at that.
All right. Is there anything else you have, JX?
We do have a couple more people in the chat that literally just came. So if you guys have any questions, let me know real quick. I see some people typing, so just ask away. Okay. But I think that's it. Yeah, no one in the chat has anything, so.
So who was the first champion that you added to your site?
So it was sort of a bulk ad where I just kind of grabbed everything, but I think the first screenshot that I sent was of Cole Obsidian.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I liked that he had two different things going on with his SIG, so he had two things in his graph.
Okay, nice. And with that graph, how much time did it take you to put those graphs together, or is that a program?
At this point, it's just a program doing it.
Okay. What's your favorite food?
Lately, I've been eating a lot of turkey and chicken pot pies just because it's super easy and I get distracted and forget to make dinner.
Fair enough. I like them. So.
Yeah. Turkey pot pies just hit hard, dude. All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and call it a short one this evening, guys. Thank you everybody for coming in and saying hi. Jax and Keldor, thank you guys for spending your Saturday evening with me.
Absolutely.
And go check out Aunt May. There's tons of things out there you can learn, you can see right there on the site. I mean, it's always updated.
Lots of new stuff coming.
Yeah, and I'm always open to suggestions. There's a lot of things that I'm planning, but it really does help to hear people saying, everybody wants better filters. I do know that, but I still like hearing it because it tells me that's like I said, if people are complaining about MCOC because they love MCOC. So if you're asking for features, I know that they're valuable and I'll prioritize them.
Very cool.
Thanks again for coming out, man. We appreciate
pleasure.
you. All right.
Thank you for having me.
everybody. Have a good Saturday evening.
Yep. Good night, everyone.
Good night.